Let's go. Come on. Good boy. Thought I'd get on and say hello. I don't know when the last time I did this was, a week ago or so. And everything's going pretty well here, as well as to be expected. We're in lockdown again. So, it was a week ago, yeah. I've been doing these every 2 or 3 weeks or so. Hello, Judd. How are you today? Thanks for the door handle again. It's wonderful. And I'll collect some others and paint them up and stick them on. One guy said they look cheaper when they're painted black than they do when they're chrome, but that's what jigsaws are supposed to have, chrome ones. So it's all good. G'day, Russell. How you going today? All good? So we're in lockdown again for, I don't know, another week. Lockdown Sydney. G'day from lockdown Melbourne. Trent, hello. How are you today? Hey, Derbyshire. How are you going? Graham Ball. How are you today? Peter Scott. How are you going? I'm rewatching the XW series. Still loving it. Thanks heaps. That was years ago. I finished that car 7 years ago. 6 years ago. I finished that car. And 8 years ago I started it. So it's all good. G'day, Mark. How are you today? Thanks for the support you give me. So I figured I'd get on and say hello. Elias, hope you're all from lockdown. Yes. How's lockdown Sydney going? Is it all working out? I feel bad because lockdown is such an awful thing, particularly for people with small businesses. I kind of enjoy it. My life is just running around like a headless chicken. And so when I get a chance to stop, I kind of enjoy it. But I do feel very guilty about saying that. And we're much better being out of lockdown than in lockdown, of course. Good day, Nick. How you going? Good to see you. James Hughes. Lockdown is becoming very boring. It is. On the way back from our house, we found out that our XG pedal van needs a head gasket. Is that the one you're towing back to Datsun with? What's it doing? Is it leaking coolant or oil or mixing it together or what do you got? G'day, Trev. How you going? Yes, I'm well. We're starting to, there's going to be some, I mentioned I've got the next video coming out in a couple of days. And, there's car alterations happening here with Susie and, there's a couple of other cars coming and it's going to be all sort of mixed up a bit. That's no good about the XG, but I don't think they're overly hard to do on those. I think you've got to get different head studs though, or different head bolts, new ones. I think the old ones stretch though. Fixing up Grandpa's 95 Bluebird. Got it running and ready to sell it off. Yeah, I've got one of those. Mine's a 94, I think. Cooling up the side of the head, the front left. Yeah. Hello from New York, Charles. How are you today? Now, hang on. What's it like in New York? New York's weather would be quite fine at the moment, wouldn't it? Steve Hall, how you going? Good to see you. So, have you had the jabs yet? I've had one. I haven't had the second one. And apparently the second one makes you feel pretty sick. So I've had one Pfizer a week ago. And the next one is on the 20th of August at 9:10. G'day, Pete. Love your videos. Thanks very much, Clint. Good to see you. Charles, it's raining in New York. Is it warm though? What's the weather like? Nice stream. Thanks very much. Hey, Graham, how you going? Use AU dead bolts. Is that head bolts? And those head gasket, never blow one again. Luke Ladder, we've been locked down for over a month in New South Wales and got put off work 2 weeks ago until further notice. Geez. Unfortunately, quite boring sitting at home, doing bugger all, doing maintenance on the EU XR6. That's the problem with it, isn't it? And two of my kids, Charlie and Alana, both aren't working while there's lockdown, and Rosie is. Head bolts. Oh, Harvey, how are you? I've got to my XD. I did the XD's instruments today, and I was wrong. It's a VDO one, not a flex drive one. because the sender didn't work, and I've got the sender's the same as the XCs, and so I'll have to order another sender because it's a VDO one. I think the resistance is different. Is that correct? What do we got? Hang on. Wet in Lancashire. Lancashire's always wet, isn't it? I noticed during one of your series, I think the XC build, you didn't want to do your own floating with the brake lines. Why was that? Are you talking about the flaring of the brake lines? You can do it. I know I could do it too. I'd just sooner give it to Peter at New Brakes because he's got the proper equipment, and a lot of the flaring tools you get, particularly the eBay ones, I trust. And so some of them use a single flare, some are a ball flare, some are a double flare. I don't know the difference. Well, I haven't really bothered looking. I just give him the old ones and he charges virtually nothing and gives me back when they're all done, and I just bend them into shape and put them in. If I had the right tool, I'd be doing it. It's been a while, but I've gone back through the CB750 and watched chapter 19 of last night, engine in frame. Well, it starts and runs, but it's not finished yet. And I haven't started and run it for a long time. We're not in total lockdown in Ireland, but you have the mask and a Badger's getting the jab. I've had one Pfizer. Yeah, ditto. I've had one too. So the next one's on the 20th of August for me. Hope you're doing well as well, Peter. Hopefully you guys get out soon. Yeah. It's different. The main thing I'm worried about is bloody year 10s or year 11s showing up class on the online learning. The others I don't worry about. The year 11s I do though. Not Smiths. Are you talking about the cages? Your kindness and attention to detail helped me through some hard times. Very inspiring. Thank you very much. That's really kind to say. There's a Ford, a Borg-Warner transmission. Are you talking about the XT? That would be a Ford C4. Some of them, the 6s, use a Borg-Warner 35, and then they went to a Borg-Warner 40 and then a 55, which are just revisions of the original one. Borg-Warner 35s are in heaps of cars. A lot of things like Mazda, Datsun 200Bs and Sigmas had them, and Chrysler Centuras had them, and I think Valiants had them. Heaps of cars had them. They're kind of one of those universal gearboxes that just shows up in every car. Or at least they used to when 3-speed autos were the rage. Yeah, the video is different. Is that the original cluster? Yes, it is. Yeah, so I've got two here. I've got a standard one and the one in the car, and they're both video. But that could be because the car's really, really old, like a really early one. Sorry, it's March 1979. And so the later XDs could have had a flex drive. I don't know. Hey, Cairns, how are you, Grant? You'd be working in your new shed, wouldn't you? If you chucked in an XE, then it's different. XDs and XEs clusters aren't compatible. I didn't know any of this. Yeah, Volvo's another one that had a 35. They had A's and Warner as well. Ben, how are you today? Gemini's had a 35. Oh, Gemini's had a Trimatic, yeah. Yeah, Volvo moved to A's and Warner with overdrive. I remember the 740s and 760s had A's and Warners. 240s I don't remember. I guess the ones with overdrive. I used to work on Volvos a lot, many years ago. I used to like working on them, except the early V6s, the wet sleeve V6s, before they went to the low friction motor. They were horrible things. Are we expecting any more episodes in the XC? Yeah, well, yes and no. There's not a lot. Okay, so there's a couple of things. I've got a tube of urethane. I've got to stick the vents on the back on the C pillars, and then one across the taillight trim as well at the end. The plastic thing isn't in there. So I've got to urethane that in. And I've got to find out what they use on the headlights. Because tomorrow, I think I'll do it tomorrow, I don't know. I plan tomorrow to send the headlights off for silvering, which is a 2-week gig. I hadn't been in a hurry to do that because it's winter and I don't want to. So I've got to find out what they use to adhere the headlight lenses back onto the headlight shell with. I wasn't sure if it was urethane because urethane's black and the stuff that came out was white, so I actually need to get advice on that. And then once the guards come, I can put those on. But there's not really much. It's just stupid small stuff. I've got to do something with the console. I haven't done yet. Seatbelts are all in. It's just bits and pieces, And so you're kind of scratching. So it's the sort of thing where you'd make one video and tie those loose ends up. I still haven't got drip rail mouldings for it. I think that's the only thing left. Drip rail mouldings and an exhaust system. So I'll drive it down with the temporary exhaust on it because I've already sort of sorted that out, and I'll take it down to the muffler joint and get them to fit a dual exhaust to it. The bumper should be redone. Both bumpers should be redone, but I'm going to get it through roadworthy first and just drive it. So, and then I've got to polish up the wheel arch polished aluminium trim mouldings. I've got about 8 of them. Some are fair lane and some are double ups. So I think I still need the left-hand rear or the right-hand rear one. I'm not sure. But there won't be one yet because I can't actually fill a video up. It'd just be like an update if I was to do it at all. Thank you for shouting out Tango Baldy in the last video of yours. I've really enjoyed his stuff. I don't know who Tango Baldy is. It might not be me who shouted him out. How are you feeling these days, mate? Since the separation, I see you are keeping extremely busy with chumps. I guess it does, yeah. And Susie and I are talking about cars at the moment, what she wants. And she's thinking about selling her Commodore and she's thinking about snaffling the Plymouth. And I thought the Plymouth would be good for her and her fella because a lot of country roads would be awesome for that. But then she tells me she wants to turn around and sell it, and I'm not really happy about that. So it means I've got to come up with some other money to pay her out for that, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. So there's a couple of other cars coming, courtesy Graham, because my youngest daughter needs her learners, and I wanted to start off in an auto, so we'll go into the Bluebird. She can do the first 20 or 30 hours in the Bluebird, and then that's a spare car that everyone here can drive. Alana can drive because she's only driving autos, and I can drive it. Suzanne can drive it when she comes back to see the kids and the dogs and all this stuff. And then Rosie wants to drive a manual, and Graham sold me his Corolla. So I'm getting 2 cars from Graham. And there's a video. He shot about 10 minutes of video on that and the EJ, and then he sent a sort of link to it, and then I copied it or recorded it, and then I'm putting it on my video, which was supposed to be coming out tonight, but I'm not going to get it done in time. After this, actually, I've got to write a bunch of lessons for school, and I've got lessons all tomorrow, and in life, it's busy. But I'm just nervous about the financial side of separation. I'm very nervous about that because that can make you or break you. And what do you do? That's just the way it is. Hang on, I've talked too much. Jeffrey Hyde from Newcastle, hunt to lockdown, lockdown. Are you coping? Ask Scotty Sutton XDF Wreckers about attaching lenses. Good idea. I'll write it down. I keep scrap paper, old printed paper and stuff. And if ever I have to write lists, which I always do, what's his name? Scotty Sutton. What is it? Where did I say it? XDF Wreckers, is it? Sweet. Man, that XC must have been a bite off more than you can chew project with 56 episodes. Well, it was a knackered shell. That's all it was. And yeah, look, I mean, I can do it, and I have done it, but I wouldn't go that way again, unless because I had to get a donor car, and then Jason donated a whole lot of parts from one of his cars, and nothing fitted. And now you would never even attempt it because people just ask ridiculous amounts of money for parts. Whereas when I bought it, like the guy I bought it from, he had a whole lot of parts there, Ray. And the ashtray has never been used in the front, which is unusual for a 70s car. People used to chill like crazy in the 70s. And it's brand new. And you pull the cigarette lighter out, and it's brand new. No one's ever used it. And I said, how much is this? He goes, 20. And then it's like, oh, cool. And then there was an AM radio, original Ford one. And I didn't need FM either. You got a 351. What do you need radio for? And most of the people on the radio are pretty... Anyway. And, I said, how much is this? He goes, 15, And so I bought all these parts that were as good as new. And I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh, pardon me, COVID. But I'm negative. But no, I didn't bite off more than I can chew. It just sort of annoyed me, if you know what I mean, the amount of damage it had, because I ended up cutting most of the metal out of it and welding new stuff in. I'll catch you later. Stay safe. I hope all goes to plan. Thank you very much, Luke, and thanks for coming. It's lovely to see you. How do you keep track of where you are with all different vehicles? Just a good memory? Well, I haven't got a very good memory, but I just understand them, I guess. You don't forget some things, right? So some things stick out in your mind, like bolts on XCs, which are half metric and half imperial, and you're always looking for that when you're starting on a job. But most of it, just because I've been playing with this sort of stuff for years, it's never a surprise. You look at a part, you know what it is, and sometimes you don't know how they go. Like there's a set of vapor lines that come out of the fuel tank on the XC. It's like goes into a manifold and then off to the carbon canister under the hood, under the bonnet. And there's a little plastic manifold, like a cover that goes on. I couldn't work out how to put that on. You do get tripped up. Gradually, an EJ getting attention over the usual similar shape EH. As Graham said, I kind of think the shape of the EJ is a lot nicer. There's a lot more varied trim inside the car. The seat trim is a lot more sort of, I guess it's more colourful in the EJ. There's different panels. They've got additional panels in them, as well as more stainless on them, and the swage line down the side of the stainless line down the side comes off on a nice angle like the Plymouth, and it's not so square. Big wraparound rear screen. I actually prefer the look of an EJ, but I do like the red motors. But there's a grey showing up here soon, so I might as well look into that. All those Ford classes are VDO, but only XTs had 1073 resistance. I'm very surprised it doesn't work. Oh. I thought the 1073 was the flex drive. You can send me back the sender, or next time I see you, we'll sort it out if you have a little time to spare in the afternoon. Sure, yeah. I was wondering, because I had some specs written down, the flex drive, the 1073, is that for the flex drive? Because I had two sets of resistances wrote down from last time I spoke to you. I'm wondering if, I don't know. The sender's already in the car, but it's identical to the XC one. So what I was thinking of doing is just sending the XC one back. That's if you can return it. If you can't return it, don't worry, I'll keep it. Because then I can get the right one for the XT and then put the XT one in the XC. Makes sense. How good is Graham's work on all his cars? Exceptional. Yeah, he is. It's unusual to see guys as clever as that. Most people are bog artists. They're not metalwork artists. Yeah, it was you who shouted out Tango Baldy. I remember you saying it in the last video of yours. Who is Tango Baldy? Hang on a minute. Excuse me. Tango. Was it Tango Baldy? Who is he? I don't know who he is. I've never seen this guy before. That wasn't me. It can't have been me because I don't know who he is. Balloons are fun. I live in the UK. I talk to you. All comments read. He uses WhatsApp, Hangouts, and Facebook. Unless I saw something he did, but I can't remember. And it's got me surprised. Carl's being dropped off to the depot tomorrow at 11 a.m. So I worked out through, is it Openica? Openica? I don't know how you pronounce it. There's a car freight mob that I've used before. And we're getting the Corolla dragged back to Melbourne by them. And then we'll get it here when it's full of EJ stuff. So I'll start cleaning up some of that stuff and seeing what's there. And the little Corolla, I'll do some paint on it and roadworthy it. And then, eventually Rosie will have that. Grey motor plus headers equals Povo sports car. Found a C210 Skyline in my paddock. I don't know what that is. If the grey matter is no good, maybe a 192X2 and paint the block grey. I think there's a few people that might have done that. Andrew Harrison, how are you? Steve Zurek. Hi, Pete. Back in lockdown again. Where do you get your blasting and anodizing done? I need to get some done for your BL V8 carburetor. You got a quaddie, hey? All right, so the plating is Warner's Metro in Power Road in Bayswater. And the blasting, I only use hydroblasting, and that's John from Fentricali Hydroblasting. Am I selling the Plymouth? No, I'll be giving it to my wife, I would think. But I want her to change her mind, so we're going to have to see what happens. She can strong arm me on that too. Because, I want to keep the house, which means I've got to pay her out, and it's just going to be stupid, really expensive. I'm nervous to replace the discs and pads on my K laser. They're actually quite easy because I think the hub stays on the car and you just slide the disc off, don't you? Can't remember. Did Susie ever get upset with all the projects, loss of space, time away from family, etc., and being in the workshop? My missus is tolerant, only to a point. No, well, she had her own. Suze was a horsey girl, and I was always there, so she could always come out. We just didn't have anything in common, really. Efforts to spend time, you go inside to watch a movie and you could never sort of committed to a movie. We just grew apart. The thing is, I've got outside filled up, she had inside filled up. So we didn't get annoyed with each other in that regard. All that stuff's still here, but no, she wasn't bad with that. She was actually really good. Do you find yourself losing handy specialists like platers and charming and chroming? Yeah, some of them sort of retire, or the sandblaster guy sold the business to his brother, who was a lot more expensive. But then I got sick and tired of using sandblasting, and I took the sump from the MG there, and I got it back, and I was just pretty disgusted actually at how messed up it looked. So it's I use hydro now for pretty much everything. I got the right one for the XC already. Must be old teacher's memory. 1073's flex drive. Okay. I'm getting 72 ohms at rest, I think. XC. So video kept. What? Yeah, I must be wrong. If you give me. I'll have a break. Not now. Oh, how long have I been going for? Oh, only 25 minutes. I'll have a break because if I go out to the garage with this, I don't know if the Wi-Fi will work. It might disconnect. And I've got I wonder if this will work outside. I might try it and just see if it gets funny. Chroming, the only chromer I know is, I can't remember his name, and he was in Power Road as well, but his work was good, but he's very expensive. And so he did the rear wheel on the CB750 because it's a 17-inch, it's a rare one for that size of bike. And when he did it, he went on and on about how cheap he gave it to me, and it was $350. He goes, "This is a $700 job, and I should have charged more and all this." And actually, I'm pretty patient, but I got a bit pissed off with him. I thought, well, ask the money or keep your mouth shut. I just got sick of it, and so I don't actually use him, and I haven't got a chromer. I just don't know who to use with that. There is a big chrome joint that does down way, I think, but I think they're very good and they're not a bad price. But I think you take something in, you might see it back a year later. So, Peter, I just joined your feed. Did I hear something about a recent Corolla acquisition? What year? 2001. It's an AE112. I love them. Love them. I had one for 10 years. Best car I ever had. So it's the green one that's turned out on Graham's channel. G'day, cheers, mate. Oh, you have to remove the hub, then separate it, do you? Yeah. That's not fun. But, we used to do them on lasers too. And, when I worked at Ford, that's right, you have to repack all the bearings. No lockdown in Denmark, so everything is good in Denmark. 1978 Skyline. If that gets any, yeah, it gets a rough one. Just give me a call one day when you have a chance. Yes, I will. Have you seen the results with dry ice cleaning? Oh, I've seen dry ice used to get rid of body deodorant, that sort of thing. 112R with the round headlights. It's the 4 round headlights, not the 2 round headlights. Yep, I get it, mate. After many years of marriage, two people can grow apart. Life, I guess. Thanks for asking these difficult questions. It's a pleasure. And I'll tell you now, I haven't got a bad word to say about Suzanne. She was terrific. You know, she used to get a bit narky and that sort of thing, but so did I. And she had a lot of trouble because I have a bit of mental illness. I'm medicated, right? So I was all right until I went to become a school teacher. And some of the things there just did my head in that badly that now I'm medicated. So she had to live with that and she had trouble with that. But then, you know, all of our kids have got something going on, if you know what I mean. So she was as a mother of young people, of young children, you couldn't have got better. But as the kids grew up and now they're noisy and they're adults and one of them's nearly 25, she had trouble with that. She had trouble living with adults. And her and I got along really well and we still love each other, but we just kind of grew apart. I haven't got a bad word to say about her. Whatever she wants, she can have. As long as it's not like absolutely everything, so I'm destitute. I don't want that. Where am I? Hello, Peter from Phil with XF Falcon. How are you going, Phil? Lovely to see you. Round light 1DS. Not sure what that means. Have a twin cam 16 valve 87 hatch, my favourite car yet. That's an AE 86, is it? Is that the one? And it's got the Yamaha head. They fly. Love the AE 112s. I've had two now. Yeah, I think they're bloody great. I had one. I did 80,000 Ks in it. It had absolutely nothing wrong with it. It never spent a day under a carport or a garage. When I sold it, I polished it. I didn't even cut it, and it came out like a mirror. The mirrors were a bit faded. They looked a bit chalky. I cut the mirrors back, and I washed the two front seat covers and advertised it and sold the first guy that looked at it. And it was they're a very white goodsy car. They're kind of reliable, like a fridge or a washing machine. And they're about as interesting, if you ask my brother, but I absolutely love them. And yeah, so I've got another one coming. I just love it. Of all the Corollas, they're my favourite because they're the end of the really simple cars, which you can keep going for 400,000 Ks. Like they just don't stop as long as you keep oil changes up on them. And they're not sort of overwrought with technology. They're repairable. Home people can repair them. They're simple, and they drive super nice. And they don't use fuel. So I mean, what more could you want? Can you test ride my teacher's bike? Probably not. I don't think I've done a video on the little Corolla. I think the only footage is what I sent you. Just keep some of that. It doesn't matter if you double it up. I haven't. Sterling plating in Waterdale Road, Heidelberg. Yeah, Susie did call the Sigma a shitbox. So hang on a second, I've lost my spot. I don't think I say. Okay, so Graham, Graham, send it. Make a video of it when you drop it off at Uppenica. Appenica. Is it Appenica? That's probably how you say it. Just to get a shot. Ford fuel senders should be 8 to 12 and 73 ohms. No, it's the ore pressure gauge, Grant. There's a crane place off Cheltenham Road, Donker. Yeah. Cheltenham Road and Dandenong. I'll stand this up again. There was a crane place off Cheltenham Road, Dandenong, next to Paintmobile. I don't know who they are. I don't know. I didn't know about them. It could have been the same one. If you need grey work done, Sterling plating in Waterdale Road, Heidelberg. Okay, that's worth knowing. Sterling. I'm never going to see these comments again, so I was writing down there. Plating Waterdale. Is that Waterdale Road? I know where that is. I know where Waterdale Road is. I think I used to go down there on the way to uni. Sweet. How about just separate it? We separate at Christmas. I'm using that. That's a nail clipper. If you can hear something, I'm just dealing with that. Finish craving Daniel. That might be the one I'm thinking of. I'm not sure. Thoughts on Cortinas? Great cars. They're not user friendly as Corolla. Corolla is one of those cars where you put oil in them. You change the oil every 5 to 10,000 k's. You put fuel on them. You put tires on about every 30 or something because they do chew. They do not chew tires, but being front wheel drive, they wear the front tires. The other thing with the 112s, which isn't great, it's the only fault that I know with them, is they go through clutches. And the reason is there's no difference between the 1600 and the 1800 clutch as far as I know. And so it's a little bit too light for the torque of the 1800. They're not that torquey, but for the clutch, they do wear them out. So 112s, it's not unusual to be doing clutches at 60, 70,000 Ks. And I've always been really gentle on clutches, and mine was well worn when I sold it. So I might put a clutch in it. I'll do a cam bell. I'll do all that stuff. Lockdown New South Wales sucks and may go into Chrissy. Yeah, you've got a lot going on there, haven't you? It's a real mess. Oh, you were trying to say you prefer the 2-round light. Yeah, me too. Lawyer up, my friend. Well, wait a minute. Where was I? I paid 6,800, sold 5 years later, 6,800. Yeah, that's just how it goes with those. How's lockdown? Is it still? South Australia is still good, not locked down yet. Love your vids. Thanks very much. 1990s to as a peak Toyota. Anything from 1972 to 2002, I reckon. I don't like the Corolla after the one-way too. They're a good car, but I don't actually like them much. That's the last of the ones I really like. Do you spray putty? No. I normally use high fill. Ever had to stop a fight at school? Yeah. I stopped one. One was brewing, and you've got to watch it, but I didn't. I was on yard duty, and there was about half the school going down behind a portable, and it was 6 kids deep, the crowd, and I just basically barged through it. I don't know who I hit or or what, and I went straight to the middle of it. And there's this kid there, and I said, "You're involved, yeah?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Yes, you are." "Who's the other kid?" And there was a kid running off, and I caught him. But you got to get there quickly. I mean, if they punch each other and hurt themselves, like really seriously hurt themselves, I don't want to be in trouble because I was responsible being on yard duty in that area. But I don't know what the legality is really with running through a crowd. Got to bust my way through there, and there was a crowd. Did the Aussie Corolla FX91 GT have the individual throttle bodies? No, I don't know. I couldn't answer that. I wouldn't know. Seriously, you expose bearings. You expose bearings when you take hub nut off and slide it around hub. No, you take the hub nut off, then you take the hub. You take the hub nut and you knock it back with a soft hammer the spline just to make sure it's loose. There's 2 bolts on the top. I'm talking about 30 years ago. There's 2 bolts on the strut. And there's one around a ball joint. You lift that off, then you split it on a arbor press. I think that's how we did it. Old mate's 981 Toyota van is for sale for 22K. Yeah, okay. Well, he can keep that. That's a lot of money. And it was a 1981 model. It's got the 1X motor with the old backfire 4. Most reliable car made in Australia was the AU. Yeah. Oil is between 10 and 35 ohms. All right, then. Well, then something's up the spout with this then. Because, hang on. Yeah, you might be right. Because what was the sender? The sender at rest was sitting on 70-something ohms anyway. That's why I thought it might be the wrong one. I'm going to go outside in a minute and see if I can get it to work. Shame new Corolla will set you back 30 grand. Yeah, I don't want a new one. I don't like any of the new cars. I'll tell you now, I really don't like them. I know we always tell kids to buy the most modern car they can with all the safety kit, but I don't like them. And um, they're going to be disposable. Everything's disposable now. And you think about the electronic stuff, in these cars that all have to be programmed into each other. It's not conducive to longevity, I don't think. You get a problem with the electronics, and you know, at least with the older ones, an ECU goes, which they never do. But if they do, you go to the wreckers and you buy one for $20, stick it in, you're driving for another 150,000 k's or more. I wouldn't buy a new Corolla. It was like they look like Power Rangers. They've got no style to them at all. Lines going everywhere. I recently read the Corolla was the slowest car of 1977. Which motor was that? Was that an 18R? They were pretty slow. It'll be in need of a full in-depth service as it runs, but you can tell it needs love. Yeah, no, that's all right. We'll do that. Valiant sports rims are going for $1,000. I was looking for an X2 air filter for this EJ. Graham wants his stock. I wanted to enhance the grey motor a bit to give it a little bit more torque. And so I thought twin carbies, and I put an X2 air cleaner on it, because last time I looked, they were $250. I thought, yeah, I'll pay that. Well, I couldn't see anything lower than, couldn't see anything cheaper than $1,300. One guy was wanting $1,500 for an X2 air cleaner. X2. I just wanted something to shut it up. I don't want to hear it, sucking all the time. Hi, Peter. If you're ever in the corporate area, you should swing past and check out my Landau project. Oh, guy's doing Landau. You can also try TIG welding. And you got a Victor project. Yeah, I've never TIG welded. Ian Seabrook's video on getting an AU Fairmont into the UK. I saw it once he got it there, and I kept looking at it thinking, why would you bother? That sounds rude, and I don't mean to come across as rude. But the car he's got there, he's got a sort of a sentimental attachment. I suppose it means a lot to him because he drove around New Zealand, but it's got like 350,000 k's or something on it. It's not, and it's just a Fairmont. Like, it's not a low mileage XR8 or anything like that. I wondered why that would cost a lot. And then when he got it there, it needs repairs. It's old. They get to an age and everything starts going wrong with them. I did sort of ask myself why he bothered. But having said that, I can't talk because I'm sure a lot of people look at my rubbish and say, why is he bothering with that? I'm sure people have said that. 95 in the chat. Good job on the channel. Oh, I have too. I didn't know there was 96 people here. 96, yeah. 96 people must be bored. This is what happens with lockdown. I also have a customer that won a Datsun 1600 sedan. That thing would be worth a bomb. Very interested to see what people think it's worth. He also has a complete motor and gearbox with it. Has it still got its original L16? Datsun 1600s are rare. They're thin on the ground. In fact, Judd Lewis, who gave me the XC's door handle, he's got one, but he's restoring his. They're a peachy car. They're one of my favourite cars. Most cars from the 90s are safe enough. Depends which way you look at it, I suppose. Too many computers, yeah. Grant, where are you getting your resistance figures from? I'm going to go in the garage with this bloody computer and I'm going to show you the gauge. I hope it works out there. Grant's a Ford guy. I've had everything Ford motorways. Have not had an accident in the Fairmont this weekend. Went sideways off a motorway. Wow, that's not good. Is he all right? No, she wasn't planning on finishing it. She just wanted to sell it and get money. And I thought, so I should sell it for $1,000 to Charlie and then buy it back from him. Yeah, that's bad. No, I wouldn't conspire ripping off my ex-wife. So you've uploaded a video, have you, Bryce? I'll have a look at it. I think the interest... Oh, okay. I think the interest in viewership will offset the cost Partially regards, yeah, Betty. So that's his car, yeah. So, yeah, I suppose it would arouse some interest over there. Huge engine for England, though, 4 litres. I mean, fuel over there is about £50 a litre, isn't it? How much is fuel in England? There was a bloke from Lancashire here before. I can't remember what they said. Was it £1.45 a litre or something? It was huge money. Like $3 hang on a second. What have we got? I'm enjoying listening, and there seems to be something wrong with the focus. Wait, that's just me. Subscribe to Blind Garage. Sideways in an AU. That's their natural state. It has a tow bar, original orange paint, been sitting there for over 10 years. I don't know what they're talking about. Do you still have a Sigma? Yeah, I still got that. I got to repaint half of it though. I was looking at it today. It's looking daggy. I've got to repaint it or paint some of it. Ian is fine. The car has rear axle damage apparently. That's going to cost a lot to fix too, because there's nothing over there that would share that axle. I would have thought, unless he gets it straightened. Poor old Hubnut. He's been driving those 2-stroke or 3-cylinder engines and couldn't handle the power. Hubnut's a motoring journal. Wasn't he originally a motoring journo? So he would have driven some pretty spicy stuff in his time. Yeah, Muttley. Is that Neil? I got a friend Neil that lives in Brisbane. He says, "Yeah, sell up and come up here." Lots of things go wrong with the AFL. Fixable stuff, but postage to UK was added cost. Added really cost. Let's see. I'm getting really curious about this bloody oil pressure center unit. Let's go and have a look and see if it works in the garage. Oh boy, boy, oh boy. Hang on a minute. Now, tell me. Hang on a minute, what's this? But his garage is full of shite. Bluebird's good. I'm about to get the Bluebird on the road. Have I got that right? Here we go. I'm not sure if it's going to work. Elise McClellan, how are you going? Mate, after the lockdowns in Victoria, come up here to the Gold Coast. I'm thinking about it. Oh. Hang on a minute. Now, see if... Is there a strength thing on this? Yeah, I think we're right at the moment. But I don't know if it's going to work in the garage. Hang on. Oh, shit. I don't want to trip over. I'm just worried about the signal strength. If it drops out, you know why. Right, okay. Did I turn that on?